Welcome everyone to the evening meeting of the Warren County Board of Supervisors. Please rise while Supervisor Thomas leads us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Leggett?
Here.
Mr. Gerard?
Here.
Mr. McDevitt?
Here.
Ms. Bramer? Here. Mr. Brock?
Here.
Mr. McDonald?
Here.
Mrs. Frazier? Here. Mr. Simpson?
Here.
Mr. Vanslow? Mr. Dickinson?
I originally wasn't going to be here, and I gave a reason for my foreseen absence, and I've never received so much feedback in the 10 years that I've been supervisor to anything I ever said. So I rethought my decision, and I decided I better come to the meeting, but in order to really satisfy everybody, I brought my socks with me so that I can take care of them and get a match before I go home. So the answer to your questions, I'm here.
Mr. Merlino?
Here.
Mr. Stroud?
Here.
Ms. Sieber? Here. Mr. Beatty?
Here.
Mr. Montesi? Mr. Sokol?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Ms. Hyde? Mr. Garrity? Chairman Conover?
Here. You should all have received the minutes of our May 19th board meeting. Chair will entertain a motion regarding the minutes. Mr. Simpson on the motion, Ms. Bramer on the second. Any additions, corrections, comments? We're ready for the question. All those in favor of approving the minutes of May 19th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now we're going to make a presentation, Supervisor Sieber is, to Andrew Polano, SUNY Adirondack graduate.
This is always a fun meeting to get this presentation at. If you even direct your attention to the back as well, there's a really little slideshow of Andrew receiving his degree, the bottom arm. Andrew is a Warren County resident, and he graduated college, and it's always fun to listen to some of the kids here, because how many of you want to go to college? Right? I want to go to college, right? So Andrew, what you've done is, by being here tonight, you've also inspired these kids in front of you. And so Andrew's been able to get his associate's degree and started college in 2013. And Andrew, you're so early, I don't know if you want to describe the process and how tough it was for you at times to obtain your degree. We recognized you at graduation, and I want to let you know SUNY Adirondack is here. Our vice president is sitting over there. And Andrew, we don't label Andrew with a disability, and we know that he's been always moving forward. He's never moved backwards. He's had testimonial after testimonial of how hard he has worked to get his degree. And as a Warren County resident, we are so proud of you, and we're so honored to be able to once again tell you congratulations on such a job well done. I know this wasn't just you, it was your family too, and they're here, right? Yeah. You guys want to come up? We'll have the chairman come around, give you a picture, and we're just so proud of your entire family. Right in the middle.
Here.
Someone take a picture. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get out of it and just have the family.
Go ahead. That's a good picture, yeah. Oh, good picture. Love it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
College.
All right. Andrew, we're so
was excellent. Presentation of certificates to winners of the Tar Wars Tobacco Prevention Program poster contest.
All right, good evening, everybody. First, I want to thank the board for allowing us the opportunity to kind of start this up again. My name is Dan Durkee. I'm the senior health educator with Warren Public Health. I've been there 14 and 3/4 years, September will be 15 actually. And this program has been running similarly for about that amount of time. It's one of those programs that I talk to kids, they say, "Hey, Dad, I have to keep doing this." You know, at some point we're hoping that if things would work itself out, we wouldn't have to be talking about tobacco and prevention and things like that. But we also know there's a lot of influences outside of what I tell them, what they see on the news, what they see in movies, television, everywhere. Walking into a convenience store or it's going to school, and we see that. So we continue to push this message, and I thank the board because they do provide us with an opportunity and a little bit of funding to continue to do this. We're one of the few counties in the North Country that can still do this. So I really do appreciate it. To give you a quick idea, this program is a combination of work between the local schools, so we're all trying to get in with their busy schedules and they get more and more thrown at them. It is a 4th and 5th grade program because we know by middle school we start to see the uptake in tobacco use. And there's also a partnership between the American Academy of Family Physicians and us. They unfortunately have had a shift in funding towards cessation, which means they're trying to reach people after they've begun. We want to continue to stop this initiation of tobacco use. But they still support the program through curriculum development and materials in that respect. So it's been a great partnership. And again, it does show up here on the back. I'm just going to show you some trends in use because I think this is important to understand what happens when we fund these tobacco prevention programs. If you look up here, in 2016, the red and green lines are the ones that we really were looking at for a while. That was cigarettes and other tobacco. So you pick up bootlegs, cigars, mini guineas, all of those things. We still see that general decline. People getting the message that, hey, tobacco products, at least traditional tobacco products, are something you don't want to mess with. All right? They're things you don't want to deal with and make it sick. Unfortunately, still only got a blip that's on the front in there. We could do the electronic nicotine delivery system, known as N or vaping. What we've seen here is instead of a decrease, we've actually seen a doubling from 2014 to 2015 in the number of students in high school that are actually initiating use of this nicotine device. What that probably means and what we see with older adults in use is a transition from that nicotine device to actual tobacco. We're going to have to see where things go, but again, we need to keep the message going and we need to stand up technology to make things a little more difficult. You know, right now, if I see a car response, we know that this is things you don't want in your body from you, we just don't know how much. So the argument is still there. We still don't want kids to drink. It is an addiction to nicotine, which leads to addiction to nicotine from other devices. So we want to watch this. So that's what we see. We as a state have done a really good job too. We are at about 14.5% of our adult population using it. We want to get that below 10 at some point. Unfortunately, when we look at our county, however, here's what we have. We still have about 19% of our adults that use tobacco or smoke. 34% of adults who have a household income under $25,000 smoke. Some of our most vulnerable, with the least number of actives, are some of our highest rates of smokers and tobacco use. We also know that adults with less than a high school degree, GED, have the highest rate of smokers in the state at 27.5%. We know as people gain more education and more opportunity, that rate goes down to less than 10%. And we are a unique county in that we actually have more females using tobacco and using and smoking than adult males. So we have our work to do in this county. But it also shows that it's a social thing. So we have, you know, people up here getting degrees and continuing this, and we can see that this is really important, and not just how well you can do career life, but in just social changes and things. So again, we see some of it. So I want to really quick get on my soapbox, because I'm not allowed to do that often, but we want to come in this campaign called Tobacco 21. I know I get a lot of eye rolls and things, because it's a campaign to kind of link tobacco purchasing power or purchasing ages with the tobacco with the alcohol purchasing ages. And there's a lot of reasons why this makes sense. First of all, we think of 18 as the age of consent, when really up until the Vietnam War and the passing of the 26th Amendment, 21 was legal. It wasn't always 18, it was 21. But because of the draft and the push from younger and tobacco, or they not just tobacco, but the drinking age as well. Well, what did we do? We saw two crash-related fatalities go up in the age group of 15 to 20. So in 1988, President Reagan had the idea, well, you can keep your ages at that level, but we're going to take 10% of your funding for highways away from you. That's what they did really quick. They went right back up to say, we're going to do 21 early because people were dying immediately. There was immediate change. Unfortunately, tobacco was years down the road. More people die from tobacco than they do from alcohol, yet we don't seem to say the price on it because it doesn't happen that instantly. It happens over a period of time. And what we see is from this, in the tobacco, or at least in the alcohol side of it, is these 30-year-olds drink as lower rates than the generation before them that had the as first. So we see that it does work. All right? 18 is not a magic number. We get this, well, you're old enough to vote, you can fight, you're old enough to smoke, and do whatever. Well, we do this as a society. We have a graduated admission system, right? You can't really get work for 14. Driver's permit is 16, sometimes 17 depending on what, sometimes a little less. Right? The legal age to sign a contract is 18. All the time. I don't know what contract is legal age. I went into look because this is a hot button topic about guns and alcohol. You know, in New York it's 21. Right? To run for office, for president, not local office, but for our higher offices, right? We'll make decisions about who goes where and blah, blah, blah. You got to be 35 to president, 30 for VP, 30 for Senate, 25 for House of Representatives. So when the industry lobbyist tells you that you're old enough to fight and vote, you're old enough to drink and smoke, it's not really a good argument. It's an argument to continue to push a product that kills 1/3 of the people who use it. So they look at it as a right, we look at it as an addiction and as a burden, and you want to pay for in the end. And the other thing that makes this important is we know that when we take an age group, we can separate that age group from another social age group who do things with one interact, that reduces it. So what we know is that 18-year-olds generally don't interact very often with 21-year-olds. So by doing it, you separate that initiation period where somebody in high school could get the tobacco from an 18-year-old who's still with them to a 21-year-old now. The chances are they're not going to interact. And that opportunity to get somebody older is decreased. All right? And so there are, again, I'm not going to go through this, but CDC's done a bunch of studies, how much we could reduce the burden, how much it could save people from dying, drop in tobacco use, smoking issues by 25%, 12% drop in smoke rates overall, right? Preterm births would go down. All of these things are tied to it. By making a simple change, it's not taking away somebody's right, it's just pushing off that initiation to a certain extent. And again, I'm not here to tell you how to vote, or how to think. I'm just saying these are the institutions, and as a public health institution within this county, we feel like it's important to just bring these points to light. That when the topic comes up, it's not just making things put in front of you. It's intellectually going forward. And then we don't have to continue maybe that marks get so low that it goes away on its own. We don't have to continue these programs. Until now we do. All right? And just to give you an idea where New York is, because everybody says, well, where are we? These are all counties and areas within New York that actually have already passed this law. To make 21 the legal purchase age is back. And these are bills that were introduced this year to the Assembly. All right, in New York, looking at a state law. All right, push one more. So this is stuff that's being done already. It's not new. But I want everybody to be aware of it. You know, these campaigns out there, they're not just about haphazard and difficult and stuff. There really is science behind it. There is research, and there really is points behind it. Again, we don't want to take away freedom, but we want to make it judicious a little bit later. Because again, at 18, 19, we still have very impetuous youth who are going to make decisions as they get a little bit older. So separating those age groups a little bit more by when they can purchase, we may just reduce some more impact. So that's my soapbox. I'm stepping off now. We're going to actually talk about why we're here, which is our kids. So we're going to start right off with our first one. Mr. Conover come over. We have Keanu Woods. Now, I will ask you to hold your applause for the end. We have 21 posters, and not all the kids can be here obviously tonight. So we'll have you hold your applause for the end. But I do want to let everybody know all the posters can be up. Oh, we have a room. She doesn't know anything that's happening. Just wait for your name to come up. Okay? So here we are. Keanu Woods is a fourth grader at Abraham Wade County School. She happens to like basketball, and it's been anywhere better for me than the rest of them free. Isn't that true? Yeah, nice job on your poster. Hey, and she brought a poster. You guys want to see what she did for real? That was her poster hanging on the wall. I'll hold it up here. So yeah, they're asking to put these together in a class, word art class. So nicely done. Thank you very much. The parents take the right position. You need to So you can't do that without, feeling the shake and flipping out in this moment. Excellent job. Might take blood pressure. Excellent. Kayla Navitsky from Bolton Central School. She's a fourth grader. You are smoke. If you are smoke-free, you can sprint faster. You can absolutely. Kayla, come on up. Get your award. Obviously, you like swimming. We'd like that. Anna Bauerman from 5th grade, Bolton Central School, she actually wasn't able to make it tonight, but she did a wonderful poster. One of the pieces of this poster contest is she allowed the public and employees to vote for the computer logo wall poster when they're done based on messaging and on television things. And Anna's poster was selected as first place for the Warren County Poster Contest. So out of all the schools, her poster was the one that everybody seemed to enjoy the most. And for her efforts, not only did she get the certificate, Rainy State donated 4 day passes to the park as part of her prize. So I had to, unfortunately, after sending the email, she was able to receive a little extra bonus from that. So Rainy State donated to the state for that month. Brianna Van Dyke, 4th grade, Henry Learner. She just came in, she's the latest, but sorry. I'm glad you made it, but nicely done on your poster. My voice is strong because I take care of my vocal cords, my lungs, and my body. Absolutely. Great job. Nice job. Jennifer Tyler, again, I wasn't able to make it to the 4th grade with Conley being tobacco free as a hoop. I love it. We live in a great place because nature is throughout all of these rooms, so it's really very cool to get used to. Lillian San Antonio, 4th grade, Johnburg Central School. You'll know from 2nd place Warren County. She was voted as the 2nd favorite poster in Warren County. Before her efforts, we were able to get her 2 passes. We were out to the bus for a full day. So on top of her certificate, Lillian will be receiving 2 passes to the bus. So Lillian, you got to come on up. We get to give you an envelope and you're welcome. Again, skiing, you're up there on jobs, there's one mountain. Mia Conley is a 5th grader. Dragons and things are popular. My sister wants to say about smoking. But these by dragons either. So very nice poster. You can look at common and out there for the kids. These are the things they see. And if you don't think that TV plays an important role in what they make decisions about, just look at their posters. Live like a tree, stay smoke-free. Everett wasn't able to make it. He was like George Good, nice job from the 5th grader there. Now the people live like North Warren. Again, some of these travel along. This one was gorgeous, by the way. It was watercolor and the street. It kept rolling off. Maybe somebody forgot how to put it back up so it gets heavy. But she did a really nice thing. Stop everything and stop and smell everything tobacco. Because one of the things we talk about is some of the smoke, they lose that ability to smell really well, taste and see really well. That was that not good stuff. She didn't really do it. 5th grader in Warren Central School. 3rd place in Warren County is being she gets another extra little prize on top of it. She actually got a $25 gift card to up as part of her poster. And you can just see how much work on these another great poster. Lots of detail, lots of good messages. So Able Island, 4th grader, 3rd grader, intermediate school. Great spotlight. I just walked out. Timberline Thunder is a 5th grader, 3rd grader as well. And again, just saying, this is what things look like when you don't smoke. This is what they look like when you do smoke. So life is a lot prettier when you know, right? Andrew Knighton from the 4th grader at St. Mary's in Alfonso. She was able to make it. Smoking free is a happy life. It's a little simple poster. Maybe Martin wasn't able to smoke it either, but she's 5th grader at St. Mary's. It's the wigging style. It's the state tobacco free. I like that. She's down here. I think we're thinking down here with the Marlboro pack. There's a watermelon doing fine at the top. Madison Christie, the 4th grader at Warren This is my universe for me, let's teach about forget pretending that fourth grader was the only person in school. Did it ever make it? She's on the way. Alright. As we go past that fourth grader, a big cross all in there, so stay in line with the shot. What a surprise you want basketball with a school down there with all the basketball going on. You play basketball? Kristen Ferguson was fourth grader at that time on Wednesday, and yeah, I mean, most motives, if you're telling you, I'll tell you, knock it off. Again, very simple message, think that. You get it at this age, you need to keep that message going. A lot of kids do that, comes out. Lillian Wright is a fourth grader at Kensington Road. How to eat and healthy life, don't use tobacco. Excellent job, love those. Jocelyn Smith, she is a fifth grader at Untitled Middle School. Stay on target, take the back for a half and half. Is this a Hunger Games picture? No. I just wanted to invite on her to the fifth graders to love Hunger Games. It's all about bows and arrows. So, awesome job. I love the program. Thanks, Mom. All right, and finally, I want to do a special thanks to Stewart Shops who donated $5 to $10 gift certificates to all of the students whose posters were submitted this year on the wall. The Great Escape is donating those park passes, and obviously the Warren County Board of Supervisors. I figured since Stewart has an emblem and Great Escape, we might go for the Board of Supervisors up there. So there they are. If you want to see them, and guys did an awesome job with the posters. I hope you remember the message this year. You're passing on to everybody. And you stand up, everybody, give you a big round of applause. We'll go down just so we can make some room up here. We'll go downstairs. We'll find a nice spot over by the main lobby area. So we can do some nice pictures if you want. All right, so everybody can lay back on the floor. All right.
Good job, guys. Good job.
How's he doing?
I had to tell him.
Hey, Chris.
I had to tell him.
Thank you.
We don't.
Nothing wrong with that.
Can you get replacement? Nope. No?
No.
I'll do the plastic bag first, and then I'll go through.
No, everything.
Hmm?
What grade are your kids in?
We're going to run like the wind.
Oh.
No.
Is he still going to St. Mary's, or is he? Yeah, I'll be like that.
Yeah, he loves it.
She's going to do a presentation.
He really does.
You want him to go to a public school? That's good school.
All right.
Good. My new teacher do that. I know teacher was talking about her daughter went to St. Mary's.
I miss my,
So she went to, got to the 8th.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll move right into the agenda. I'll now open the privilege of the floor. It's a public comment period. I'll begin with those that are here to address the board regarding the legislation regarding plastic shopping bags. I would ask that you step to the microphone if you would, please, and state your name and where you're from, and we would be happy to hear from you.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Atherton. I'm with Tri-County New York Transition Organization. We are the ones that actually brought the initial proposal to the Warren County Board, appearing in front of the Environmental Concerns and Property Tax Services Committee and the Legislative and Rules Committee. So I just thought I would read, just to keep it a little short, a letter that I actually wrote to the Post-Star. The thin plastic bags our groceries are bagged in are made from polyethylene, a byproduct of petroleum and natural gas. Over 1 trillion plastic bags are used worldwide each year. The U.S. alone discards 100 billion per year, which is about 500 bags per person. And they use an estimated 12 million barrels of oil at a cost to retailers of $4 billion, which is then passed on to us, the consumer. They are used an average of 12 minutes, and then they're thrown away, but they take an estimated, and one doesn't really know, but takes an estimated 1,000 years to fully degrade because they just get broken down into smaller and smaller pieces, and they release chemicals the entire time. Their toxicity contaminates our soil, our waterways, our oceans, and threatens us and wildlife. We do not need them. Widespread usage only began about 45 years ago. It was a created need and economically has only benefited the bag industry. And they've done a great job in perpetuating this need. Plastic bags are estimated to be the #1 consumer item in the world. The bags are a learned addiction to convenience no longer appropriate or sustainable in this day and age. Recycling turns out not to be a solution. Even though recycling in stores has been in effect for like 20 years, it's obviously not the solution, as estimates vary between 1% to 10% are recycled. That's it. Everything else then ends up in the landfill or in our waters. The other thing is the efforts that get folks to voluntarily bring reusable bags into the grocery store has largely been unsuccessful also. Even though Hannaford promotes, in our area, Hannaford promotes reusable bags, Price Right and Aldi charge for a plastic bag, BJ's and Sam's Club do not have them, Target and Price Chopper credit for reusable bags, I think 3 cents or 5 cents, I can't remember. So basically we kind of think it's insane that we use non-renewable fossil fuels that take millions of years to create in order to produce an item that we use once or twice and then we throw away. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Yes, sir.
My name is Bob Benwhite. I'm a Queensberry resident. And I'm just wondering, is there truly a problem with plastic bags specific to Warren County that we have to ban them in Warren County? As we all know, there are many, many products made of thin film plastic, from garbage bags to lunch bags to meat packaging, and that's why we like plastic bags, is because we all go to the store and buy a nice juicy steak. We certainly don't want to put it in a cloth bag and bring it home. I've spoken to the people at both the Ridge Road and Luzerne Road transfer station, and all the trash that gets thrown there gets burned to the trash plant. Same thing with all the waste haulers. They take all their garbage to the trash plant. So specifically to Warren County, I'm not sure if it's going to end up in a landfill. So again, I know personally I do reuse them and recycle them, and they're just a real convenient item. And again, I know plastic is used all over, plastic containers in the supermarket. So again, why are we specifically targeting one item? Is it just because of the way it looks, because it has 2 handles? I don't know. And if they are banned, what are we going to do if we're caught with them? You know, what if we go to Washington County and decide to buy something over there and then we come back into Warren County? Are the police going to capture us? You know, what's the penalty? Is there a penalty? Anyways, my concern.
Thank you. Mr. Chopra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for purposes of clarity, I don't know which resolution everybody has seen, but there was a change in the resolution where it's not completely banned. Is that correct?
it makes no reference to banning or charging. It's
Okay.
it has
Okay, I just wanted, I don't know if the public
right.
knew that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It was in, my name is Bernice Menace, I'm part of the community, and I was thinking, listening to the man who spoke about tobacco, that some of what he said actually applies to what we're doing here. Because on the one side, you have something that is maybe convenient, but is pretty much a habit that's an addiction. On the other side, you have life. Basically, if I'm wearing my Ocean Conservancy shirt, because one of the things that's happening with plastic bags, it's taking up huge, huge areas of the ocean. If you saw big birds that have died and have their stomach open and see these little plastic crystals in their bodies, and then you see them, their babies who can't live because they're feeding their babies plastic. If you saw the life forms of the fish and the birds and the ocean on one side, and on the other side you have what I'll call habit and what I'll call addiction. And what we know is habits go one way, but habits can also change to go another way. I would see Warren County as setting a wonderful example of how to cultivate a certain pattern of behavior that actually is pro-life in the deepest ways in terms of our earth. So that is my argument, because also when we talk, many, many countries have banned plastic bags. Many cities have banned them. Some states have passed it. My nephew's in California, says no one uses those single-use plastic bags. Habits are habits, as is smoking, as is drinking, and what you say is what are good habits, and what are habits that you want to cultivate in your family and in your community that really are that are so good for life forms on this earth. So that's my argument for either banning or, there was a decision whether you want to ban or charge, and someone said, and it's probably true, that banning is probably the easier form, and then if you charged, how much you should charge. But it is not hard. I mean, in California, as I say, my nephews, they bring their reusable bag. It's not a huge thing, and we're only doing it in terms of single-use plastic bags.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Pam Reed from Queensbury, and I wrote a letter to the editor of the Post-Star a few weeks ago, and it was commenting on a May 24th letter to the editor by Matt Seaholm, who is executive director of the American Progressive Bag Alliance in Arlington, Virginia. And he was addressing while a tax on ban on bags in Warren County would lead to fewer people using bags, it would do nothing to address litter. Anyway, I wrote a letter because he was saying that there's really nothing wrong with them and they can be recycled, and I just wanted to quickly read that. I'd like to comment on the May 24th letter to the editor. Really, Mr. Matt, do the plastic lobbyists need to extend their grasp all the way from Virginia to the North Country? Your letter starts out well, recycle and reuse plastic grocery bags, but you state that banning or taxing plastic retail bags doesn't provide any meaningful litter or waste reductions. Statistics show that the average person uses 500 plastic bags a year, and most are thrown out and not reused. That's so wasteful. Yes, I reuse a few single-use bags for garbage bags rather than to buy new ones. But because I recycle all my cans, glass, and plastic, I use fewer than I would bring home from the store. Rather, I use cloth bags for grocery shopping to avoid single-use plastic bags. And I agree that if you're getting meat or something, then you use some that you have, you bring them with your other cloth bags. You write that plastic bag regulation pushes customers towards less sustainable options, including reusable cloth and thicker plastic. That simply is not true. Cloth bags can be washed and reused many times. I keep sturdy cloth and plastic bags in my car, and when I go shopping, I just grab a few. That's handy and easy. My assortment of bags come from yard sales for 25 cents or as promotional giveaways. Some come from, so I don't agree with you that some folk can't afford them. Single-use bags rip easily. Have you ever had all your groceries scatter and break when the bag rips? Cloth or sturdy plastic bags are best for those who walk to the store, bicycle, or ride the bus. Thank you.
My name is Timothy Moriarty. I live in the town of Queensbury. I first became aware of this issue 3 or 4, probably 6 weeks ago when I read a few articles in the press. And it surprised me that this was a big issue for the residents of Warren County. Also in reading the article, what struck me was 2 or 3 things. First being that there seems to be no, people who are promoting this, there seems to be no good alternative. What I would suggest is people who want to use the cloth bags, fine. If they want to recycle their plastic bags, fine. If they want to take plastic bags home that the retailer provides for them, fine. If they want to take them home in paper bags, fine. It seems like there's not much of a presence of paper bags anymore, because I think perhaps the same people who want to ban the plastic bags are also concerned about the paper bags, for the use of trees and the destruction of trees for the use of the paper bags. But at any rate, what I would echo what one other individual said here is that this appears to be not a county issue, but if it is going to be taken up, if it has any merits at all, it should be taken up at a higher level, the state level. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dana Stimson, and I'm a resident of Glens Falls. I'm a recent transplant. We have been here only a little less than 2 years, and I moved here from the Seattle area. And so I worry a little bit about doing this because, saying, oh, well, we did it in Seattle, oh, we did it in San Francisco. I don't want to be that way. I just want to share that I come from a community that did pass a plastic bag, a single-use plastic grocery bag ban, and I'm here to say that it worked and people adapted. And so the way it works in Seattle, and it doesn't mean you get arrested if you cross county lines with your bag. It just means that stores will not issue these plastic bags, will not pack your groceries in them. And it's very simple. There is an alternative. The alternative is that you carry with you reusable bags. And once that happens, and we just don't see the accumulation of the trash and the garbage that I see everywhere along roadsides, in trees, floating down our rivers to the sea, where they are very detrimental. So I just am here to say that it does work and people adapt, and I think that we as a county should really consider ending this. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Sean Garvey. I'm a local businessman and a resident. I brought some show and tell with us tonight so you could understand maybe some of the repercussions of what we're going to do, well, what you're thinking of doing, I should say. I'd like to first thank you for you all for your public service. I know you don't do this for money, and being in politics today, especially in a decisive state that we're in, I admire you, and thank you for your service. Many years ago, I got a degree in chemistry and biology, so I kind of used to think of myself as a scientist, and put myself through school working on cars, and then ended up obviously in that business. I wanted to talk a little bit about half-life, because sometimes you hear that as someone complains about plastic bags. I'm going to make believe that this is not a paper plate, but a styrofoam plate, one that was made in the 70s, because plastics have changed a lot over the years. If Jesus Christ threw out this plastic plate, 500 years later, this much of the plate would be left. In the year 1000, this much of the plate would be left. In the year 1500, this much of the plate would be left up. In the year 2000, this much of the plate would be still here. That's styrofoam that was made in the 70s. Plastics have changed a lot, and I just wanted you to understand what half-life was. When it comes to half-life of paper bags, the National Oceanographic Institute says they're about 48 years. So it takes, and that's a debatable number because when something decomposes, at one point do you say that it's no longer a plastic bag or a paper bag? When it's totally returned to the environment? I wanted to make a quick example of what legislative bodies have done, and they've made an error, in my opinion. This used to be considered evil by Congress 8 years ago. So they made it mandatory that we sell these and use these fluorescent bulbs here. With good intentions, they wanted us to use less electricity. Why does this have anything to do with plastic bags? Because they didn't think of the ramifications of everything they're doing. These bulbs have mercury in them, and you don't have to be a scientist to understand that mercury is not good for you. When these break in your home, or when they're thrown away in the garbage and not recycled, they get broken, and they make a waste stream that we're all talking about, I guess, that this waste stream is much worse than a broken glass from a bulb. And I guess what I'm resentful with is someone at the county level forcing the 60,000 residents of this county to behave a certain way. I like the idea that this gentleman that spoke before me, that people have a choice. They can use plastic or paper or cloth, and they can recycle or not. Obviously, in my businesses, we recycle gobs of materials, and I believe in recycling. I'm not against recycling. We recycle plastic, paper, cardboard, steel, paint thinner, oil filters, it's steel that goes on and on. So, but let's say you make the choice that you want people to stop using plastic bags. This is one plastic bag rolled up, and this is one paper bag rolled up. I'm lucky enough to own a home in a community in Cape Cod also that I bought for my family a number of years ago. And one town in that community has banned plastic bags. So, when I go shopping in that town for a week of food, this is what I end up with. Remember these I was born in the 50s, so I remember the plastic bag era. The bags are smaller now, and they double bagged every bag that I used. And this contains 8 bags, folded. This contains 8 plastic bags folded. Now, this 8 bags is about this volume of this single paper bag. Now, they keep on calling these bags single-use bags. I think that's false. Obviously, we use plastic bags to bring lunches in. We put dirty clothes in them. When I go away on a business trip, I might put shoes in them, dirty clothes. My wife puts rags in them. We use these plastic bags in all the small garbage containers in the house, and eventually they get thrown out, or some get recycled, to be honest. But we don't have a landfill problem here because everything gets burnt in this county. So, I agree that when I burn this plastic, it emits a toxic resin. Burning this plastic bag will do the same thing. It's not the same chemicals, but this is toxic also. Talk to any fireman walking into a house. Burning wood is not good for you. Breathing that or breathing burning plastic. Now, I can burn this much plastic if I decide not to recycle it, or I can burn this much paper after 1 week of going shopping. Now, many conservationists, I'm going to use the term maybe environmentalist, plastic bag equals evil. But the same people scream that I don't want lumbering, I don't want trees cut down in my backyard. I don't want any lumber activity in the Adirondacks. They want the woods to be preserved and wild forever. They're not in my backyard, people. So where are we going to get this pulp to make this plastic bags? So that's going to be imported from Canada because they don't want it. They don't want any lumbering in our Adirondacks. They want it done someplace else. So my feeling is that I'm just looking for hard evidence or data why banning plastic bags have a net positive effect on the environment. I'm not saying that they're good. I'm not saying that paper bags are better, but you should have a choice. And if you want to encourage recycling more, I mean, a previous speaker spoke of like about 1% recycling. A manager at one of the local chains thought they had up to 50% recycled. You could ask for more recycling. You could ask for the chains to offer paper, okay? But it changes everything. I can walk into my house with 4 bags in each hand. But for me to walk in the house, I can only hold 2 of these at a time. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I only have to walk 30 or 40 feet. Okay, but long story short, I appreciate your time. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, after I used got these plastic bags, these are more single-use. Paper bags are more single-use because what am I going to do with them? They're too big for, I can't put my wet clothes in them. I can't put my shoes in them when I travel. I can't, if they get wet or dirty, I can't reuse them. They're too large for a lunch bag. Paper bags are more single-use than plastic bags, in my personal opinion. And so I've asked for a compromise. And if you are going to walk your dog tonight, you might want to try picking up the waste with a paper bag and see how that works out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll come back. I don't, this is not a debate.
Okay.
I'll
I
let
wanted
you
to just
speak
clarify something as regards the proposal. The proposal was for bags paper bags as well, that's all. It's a fee or a ban on both plastic and paper.
I understand. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
My name's Robin Barkenhagen. I'm from Glens Falls. I'm the treasurer of the Warren County Green Party. Just a quick note, you can also make paper bags from hemp. But I'd just like to read the Green Party of New York's official statement on plastic bags. We are in favor of a ban. We'd like to enact an immediate statewide ban on plastic carryout bags. The Green Party will continue to educate shoppers, corporations, and the government on the harmful environmental impacts of plastic bags, and will oppose efforts by the governor and the legislature to subvert the democratic right of municipalities to enact local laws on this issue. So again, the Green Party of New York and the Green Party of Warren County is in favor of the ban. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the Board of Supervisors regarding it? This is regarding the bags now.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jean Nordsey, and I am a resident of Glens Falls, and I have been spending time, living at least part-time in Warren County for 51 years, and I'm here with my dad also, Harvey Nordsey, and since I was little and he was in his 30s was when we first started coming to Warren County part of the year. I've lived in Warren County all year round since for about 27 years, and I've worked for Catholic Charities for the Domestic Violence Program for 26 years. And I just wanted to let you know who I am. I'm not here on behalf of Catholic Charities, but just some of who I am in the community. And I'm happy to be a Warren County resident. I'm here as a citizen. I'm not part of one of the organizing groups, but I care about what they're doing. And I'm just here as a citizen who can say that I think it's very easy to get adjusted to not using plastic bags. It's something that I started to just pay attention to over the years, and I started to feel that they tear so easily, the plastic bags, that to me it is hard to reuse them to put something dirty in or whatever, because as soon as you bring something home from the grocery store that's heavy or has pointy edges, like a roll of aluminum foil or something, then there's a tear in the plastic bag. So I think oftentimes they do end up only being good for one use. And for one reason or another, I started to acquire the reusable bags, and they're more attractive and they last a long time. And I think that I see more and more of my friends and relatives doing that. And I just want to say I think it's something that we can do. And why Warren County? I think the more communities that do it, it's about, why me, why anybody to stand up? Because if Warren County does it and then somebody else does it, and cities all over the country and the world are doing it little by little, we're solving the problem. And just thinking, somebody said that they've only been in use for about 45 years. I mean, just think about our grandmothers' generation, and that, they found ways to do things. They didn't, we've started to take plastic bags for granted, but clearly we can live without them. People lived without them before. And most of all, just that I really, I care about my nieces and nephews and my grandnieces and nephews to come, and wanting, the planet and all its beauty to be there for them. So that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Jane Kannar, and I'm a member of the Transition Town Initiative too, and we've been with this issue quite a while, as you know. Just one reflection I wanted to share with you is I carry a nylon reusable bag in my purse with me, and when I go to different merchants, such as downtown, where I like to shop, I very quickly ask the merchant to put my item that I've purchased in here, and without a doubt, 9 times out of 10, the merchant is extremely grateful that I've spared them the price of another bag. They always say thank you, and they say, please tell your friends, have more people do it. So I've gotten a very positive response from merchants, even at Penny's and the mall. This carries everything home. It weighs 1 ounce. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak on the resolution?
I'm Sandy Lamb. I was born and brought up in Bolton, went away professionally, and then came back and lived 15 years in Hague, and I'm now in Queensbury. So I have fingers throughout the county. And a concern I have is for the plastic bags and the kids, my grandkids, but also for me, having the reusable cloth bags is much easier. You can take much more in it. You don't have to fiddle with things, and I find it very useful.
Hello. I'm Harvey Nordsley, resident of Queensbury. I've heard the argument used, and it was used by the governor in vetoing the bill to ban plastic in New York City, that it would put an unbearable cost, especially on seniors, and I think that's a very invalid argument. We bought 2 cloth bags from Hannaford more than 5 years ago, and they're still in use. And since then, we've been given dozens of bags by many other organizations, and they work for wet clothes and shoes and many things besides grocery shopping. So the alternative is not just paper or plastic. The hardest thing is to remember to put them in the car. And I think if you had to pay 5 cents for an alternate paper bag a few times, you would remember much better to put that plastic and keep it in the car. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Diane Collins. I'm part of the transition group. I guess the bottom line is we're going to run out of fossil fuels one day. And we can be part of an answer to having that be further down the road. The incredible waste of our natural resources with this one item is just startling. We're not talking about replacing the plastic bag with paper bags at all. We're talking about replacing the plastic bag with a reusable bag. And as Bernice pointed out, it is a habit that we can accomplish. The plastic bags, when they're burned, do release toxic fumes. There's the size of Texas of plastic collected in our, only one place is the size of Texas of plastic collecting in the ocean. It really does destroy parts of our environment. And I just think the county has the opportunity to join with other clear-thinking towns and cities and states and take a stand. Take a stand for our environment. Take a stand for preserving fossil fuels for important things. And plastic is actually one of those things, medical uses, etc. But this thin film plastic bag is an intolerable waste.
Anyone else wishing to address the board regarding the resolution on plastic bags? Is there anyone wishing to address the board regarding any other resolutions before us this evening? Yes, sir.
My name is Christopher Lynch, resident for a long time. I would like to address 224, resolution on the airport. And conceptually, I think that is a classic cart before the horse, and the horse is possibly backward. Two reasons come to mind. One, I got a copy of the final environmental impact statement this afternoon. I have gotten to go over it once, and I've got 3 pages of gross errors. I don't think you guys will get a Fonzie in a million years, and if you do, it'll be ripped to shreds. Why you would put a final proposal in front of the FAA when you have such a shoddy piece of work as that? 2, I believe I have spoken a lot of times on the hydrology of a Marl Fen and how delicate it is and how little studied it is up there, and it's criminal to go along with something like this when we're just we haven't even studied it. You know, it's like giving you a math test. Pardon?
Why are you looking at me with all that?
Oh, because I'm half lawyer, even though I never went to law school. But the problem is, you're the closest. No. Okay, I'll look at somebody else. I'll look at the pretty one with the mustache. How's that? But I believe they've put the hydrology. The hydrology study as part of the final proposal in front of the FAA. Now, that obviously, if you know anything about, well, if you know a lot about DEC or EPA law, or even the Corps of Engineers, which I have no respect for, but if the hydrology doesn't work out, you guys ain't going to be able to put that 1,000-foot extension on, so it would make sense. Let's just do the hydrology now. Let's study it, make sure it's a viable function. I think in the time of looking at that, you're going to have other sillinesses coming out on the Marl Fen, like the plug technology, which I'm still scratching my head on, the Leopold studies, which I've been following for a year or two, which they have totally miscalculated. So I would actually put that aside for the night and speak well of the hydrology study and give people, I think the final impact statement and the answers to all the questions came out yesterday. I don't think anybody had until today, but I would think to cast an intelligent vote, you guys would have to read that thing over. Believe me, you aren't going to like what you read. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good evening. My name's Maureen Lynch, and I live in Queensbury, New York. I'm across the street from where the airport is. I wanted to also just speak briefly to Resolution 224 And first, also agree with the idea that you have to have the hydrology study completed over the acreage that the fen is on before going any further, because otherwise we may be wasting an awful lot of money. And whether it's FAA money or local money, we're going to wind up paying for it in the end. The hydrology study may, in fact, find that the fen is not the 10% that we see at the surface, which has been surveyed and measured to date. It may find out that there are emerging pockets of fen that are developing and might have a chance to become fen acreage, but would be destroyed if this project goes through. So I would feel much better putting the hydrology study ahead of it. And to be honest, there's only a handful of acres worldwide of this type of ecosystem, and we have been trying to defend it from day one against various proposals regarding this runway extension and also the other parts, the other airport runway projects that are in the works. And I hear an awful lot of discussion and advocacy regarding getting rid of using plastic bags. And that is a problem that is around the world if you think about it. But we are the only ones who have this fen. And I'd like to think that the county feels as strongly from an environmental standpoint about taking care of what's in our own backyard. I'm not saying stop everything, but it might be nice to put the horse before the cart and get the hydrology study completed before going any further with Resolution 224. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rod Austin, resident of Lake George. Been involved with the airport my whole life. Been involved. Was licensed engineer, PE. I apologized for repeating myself to several of you people, but as long as the subject's been brought up again, I want to say again, if you look out the front window here, you will see a nice lawn. That lawn was topsoil that the county could get for free from the airport that they took from the area that is now called a marl fen. They stripped the topsoil, left the clay, and God, they found that 25% of the marl fen in the whole world out there at the airport. But there's two places where it is, because when the Queensbury School was built, there was free topsoil out at the airport, and they stripped another area of topsoil. When it first came out, and I'm not going to get into the details, most of you have heard them already, the whole thing got blown totally out of proportion. When they discovered this marl fen, they didn't want us to put a barbed wire fence through it. The FAA said, you've got to protect the airport. They ended up they disappeared. I told them what had happened. 3 old-timers, some of you may remember Watts Brayman, he couldn't stop laughing. He said, I could show you where they are. It's where they got the topsoil for the school and the county center, I think 10 more years later. So you want to be careful about, we have some huge percentage of all the marl fen in the whole world out there in the 2 places. 3 old-timers, they went into hysterics over that claim because they knew exactly what it was. And that's what it was, that's what it is. I've made the statement, if they're really concerned about it, why don't they get rid of some more topsoil that the county can use somewhere, and we can turn the whole area into a marl. It'll happen by itself. Marl means clay, fen means swampy area. That's what it is. It's clay, it's blue marine clay. We had a 20-foot deep pond on Quaker Road where you go by Garvey's there on the first curve. You went down to 20 feet of peat to get to the clay, the marine clay that they ended up building Quaker Road over. So I apologize for repeating myself, but you can talk about hydrology experts, whatever you want. But don't get carried away by a claim that we for some God-known reason, have 40-some%, I think there's some in Germany somewhere, all the mile fen in the world. We also have 2 nice areas of topsoil with lawn.
Anyone else wishing to address the board? And I'll close the privilege of the floor section. I know this will disappoint my colleagues, but I'll forego my chairman's report and move right into committee reports. Begin with Mr. Thomas, Supervisor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll keep it brief. The first item I would like to draw the board's attention to is Resolution 247, and this is authorizing approximately $577,000 from the general fund balance to be applied to restoration and paving projects. I would just like to say that I fully support that, and we did this a few years ago. We applied $1 million, and I think that this is for this year. I think this is a good number. The second item, NISAC come out today with the estimated property tax cap inflation factor, and their estimate is at this point is 1.84. Last year, the inflation factor was from the comptroller was 0.68. Just for reference, 1.5% increase in the levy raises about $630,000. And that's my report.
Thank you. Supervisor Leggett.
No committee reports, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Gerard.
Facilities met, and we have resolution 222, 225, 22 is authorizing agreement with Panoramic Blues Festival at Florida Airport. And 223, I think, is what was being discussed right now, not 24. And that's authorizing submission of a grant application to Federal Aviation Administration, New York Department of State Transportation to the runway 119 Deck Space 2 of the FAA. Final design, appointment at airport. And at the appropriate time, I'll move to table that. Number one, there was information that just came out on the EA. Also, we had a coordinator here that probably will not go through it anyway, so I have to move to table.
Alrighty.
224 is authorized submission of a grant application to Federal Aviation Administration, New York Department of State Transportation of airfield guidance sign replacement, crack seal markings at Fort Edison Field. And 225 is authorizing a grant for easement over county-owned property, National Grid for electrical transmission. And I attended the Cornell meeting last week, Monday. Everything's going well there. They do need a roof. We brought it up in facilities. Our people think that we can take care of that. They're up there doing some repairs, and our people recognize that the life, the existence of the roof has served its time, and we're hoping that we can get that in our budget through before the winter. And their annual golf tournament is this August. If I have my phone, I have the date of it, but it's August. Excuse me if I have the wrong date, but it's been well attended. They've done a great job with it. And since their budget cut some years ago, that was one of the ways they went on to raise money, and they're very, very successful at it. So I'm pretty proud of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Supervisor McDevitt.
No report.
No report. Supervisor Bramer.
Okay, yes, I'm reporting on environmental concerns and real property. There are 2 resolutions. I'll just point out the second one is about canceling some taxes, and those are all due to court order. We met on May 22nd. That's all.
Supervisor Brock.
I have none.
Supervisor McDowell.
As I am not a committee chair, I do not have a committee report.
Excellent. Supervisor Frazier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health, Human, and Social Services met on May the 24th. I'll try to keep it brief, though. We heard from Chris Hunginger, the Director of Employment and Training, We had to amend the budget in the amount of $99,704 to reflect money that they received from TAMP, which was grant funds to administer the summer program. And then we needed to authorize a new contract with Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton Board for Operation Food Chain for the Summer Youth Employment Program. Social services like general housekeeping, they had to fill a couple of positions. We heard from Office of the Aging. Basically, we need to authorize the submission of the annual implementation plan for 2017 and 2018 to the New York State Office of the Aging. And as a result of that, we have the three resolutions. We have Resolution 218, authorizing the Warren Hamilton County's Office for the Aging to submit the annual update to the 4-year implementation plan and the 2017 funding application to the New York State Office for the Aging. Resolution 219, authorizing agreement with Washington, Saratoga, Warren, Hamilton, Essex Board of Cooperative Educational Services for Summer Youth Employment and Training Program. And then 220, authorizing temporary positions within the Warren County Employment and Training Administration. And then I filled in for Mr. Vanslow for support services. That was also on May the 24th. We did hear from William Van Ness and Elizabeth McLaughlin, who are commissioners of the Board of Elections. They kind of filled us in on what's going on in their department, talked about the new voting redistricting, which is mandated by the New York State election law. And then they had a request for a supplemental software agreement with NTS Data Services for a voter registration application. That really was most informative. Mr. Colvin just needed money to purchase some computers. And then we had a little presentation by the National Business Equipment as well as Sealy Office Systems, as we needed to renew a 5-year contract for copier services. And with that, then we have 3 more resolutions. Resolution 215, amending number 599 of 2005, which authorized apportionment of expenses related to the care, custody, and control by the Board of Elections of voting machines in each election district to municipalities in the county to increase election service fees to the city and towns. 216, authorizing supplemental software license agreement with NTS Data Services, LLC, for the VRA voter registration application program for the Board of Elections. And 217, extending an agreement with National Business Equipment and Supply, LLC, for the print copy scan output assessment, consolidation of office equipment, and contract for multifunction copiers on a cost per copy basis. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. DPW Public Works did meet on May 23rd. We had a report from Justin Gagno that the contract with them has been signed with Revolution Rail Riders, beginning their rail bike business. Also in that, Justin had talked about the fact that they were still in discussions on their train operations this year. And I've got a communication that says beginning July 1st, Saratoga North Creek Railroad will operate 4 days per week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're going to change the southbound departure from North Creek to 3 o'clock instead of 3:45. So there's been a change. They're going to increase their numbers of runs. We went into the Parks and Rec part of that, and Mr. Benway reported that they had stocked a total of 26,675 fish. They weren't all in the mill pond in Brant Lake either. They are throughout the county. So he also reported that the Springsing event was successful. There was over 300 people there. I attended. There was a lot of families, a lot of young kids. Great event, and hopefully it continues. Okay, and then we went into the DPW, and we had a report on the Household Hazardous Waste Day that was done in Warrensburg. It was a little less participants than last year. There's another one going to be in the town of Queensbury this Saturday, June 17th. And then after that, we may go to doing this every couple of years. Also in that committee, we talked about the appropriating funds towards
roads that we had put out to bid to private contractors, which I'm in full support of the resolution that Frank had referenced there. This is going to allow us to pave more roads and get caught up on our infrastructure. We're not having to hire more employees. We're going to be able to take our current crew and get a jump on next year's paving schedule. So that's a good result of that. And also, I want to report that we have we're going to have a small meeting with the representatives from New York State DOT on the state highways. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Supervisor Dickinson.
I have a report. The Occupancy Committee met on May 22nd. We have one resolution that came out of that meeting, Resolution 221. It modifies Resolution 555 of last year. It has to do with the monies allocated to the Balloon Festival. Basically, we've increased it from $25,000 to $40,000. They had been getting that much money through two different sources. So now that we've changed the OCTAX, we need to do this to bring them up to what they were accustomed to getting. I also have a report on my socks. I have them all sorted, and I'm sorry to say I ended up with 2 pair of identical mismatched socks.
Supervisor Merlino.
Well, I wish I had $20 in quarters to give them so we could wash his socks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tourism, no really report. All our advertising has been running, and we'll give you a report on what we get as results of people that click on to look at it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Supervisor Strauss.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I do have a Legislative and Rules report. The Legislative and Rules Committee met April 24th, and we had, the discussion was on bags. Should we discourage the use of single-use bags? Should we encourage the use of reusable bags? What would be the more environmentally friendly thing to do? We had some guest speakers speak to the committee. Catherine Atherton, Tri-County, New York Transition member. Maston Sanson, Vice President of Government Relations, Food Industry Alliance of New York State. We had Stephen Aquario, who was the Executive Director of New York State Association of Counties. We had Mona Gula, who was the Vice President of Public Relations and Consumer Services for Price Chopper Market 32. There was general consensus that something should be done, that plastic bags in general were not good for the environment, and that human behaviors could change and do something positive for the environment. Now, there was a lot of discussion tonight that I think was not accurate, because we're not talking about paper bags, plastic bags. What is the resolution? The resolution, which was the consensus of the committee, was one, we should have a public hearing on the topic, which we did. And two, is there support among the Board of Supervisors for a letter of support? The letter of support basically says just this. The Warren County Board of Supervisors has resolved to send this letter to you to encourage you to develop and implement legislative action that will reduce the use of single-use carry-out bags and increase the use of reusable bags. That's all the letter says. It doesn't say anything about banning in Warren County. It doesn't say anything about paper bags versus plastic bags. That's all it says. Now, if you're comfortable with what it says, the resolution says that we will send that letter of support
to Senator Elizabeth Little, Assemblyman Dan Stack, and members of Governor Cuomo's New York State Plastic Bag Task Force. That's all it is. A letter of support, encouraging our legislators and the task force to do something about this. We didn't tell them what to do. We just said something probably needs to be done, could be done, and we support that concept. That's all this resolution is saying. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Straw. Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few quick items. First of all, thank you for everyone's support last month for an evening meeting. I think we can all see how beneficial those evening meetings are for our community. First and foremost, if you would please turn your attention to resolutions 235 to 240, highlighting 236. 236 was in fact revised after it was mailed out. And the reason for that revision is that initially we had a date, and 236 is regarding an 2% increase in the retiree benefits for the contribution rate for out-of-unit and CSEA and service employees and retirees. The problem with the date that we had on that letter was it certainly didn't give enough notice to our retired employees who are going to see a small increase in their contributions. So they needed us to pass a resolution and then give enough time so that our health broker company could go out and mail those letters and provide that notice so people could plan accordingly. So that date was changed to August. If there's any objections to that, we can certainly withdraw the resolution and re-present it next month, but keep in mind that just means there'll be less notice provided to those people that will see an increase. So at this point, it stands as is unless someone would like to change that. Secondly, tonight before our meeting, we had spent significant time with Jaeger and Flynn to talk about a possibility of going self-insured, both with our medical and a stop-loss with our pharmacy, our script piece of it. So we've decided to wait until June when I know it's June now, but our June personnel and finance meeting to vote on that issue. So that information will be presented at our monthly committee meetings this month. We also had an opportunity to finish our performance work plans, but please keep in mind those dates are now set for September. We will be emailing those out from the HR department. We do have a busy September, and we'd like to give you all enough notice because as chairs of committees and those of you that are on the Personnel Committee, you have a busy month in September. So we're hopeful that by getting you those dates, we can have everyone fully participate in that process. And again, thank you. The next item is that, where are we? Oh, tonight you heard from our college award recipient. I failed to actually tell you the formal name of that award we gave tonight was the Warren County Board SUNY Adirondack Certificate of Excellence. We started that process 3 years ago. And to be clear, we award this, Washington County does the same, to one student who's overcome significant obstacles in the course of pursuing their education, demonstrates academic achievement, exhibits motivation, tenacity, and enthusiasm, and is a Warren County resident. And that tonight you met Andrew. Also, we had an opportunity to meet as our airport advisory group. Again, that's a group that we have as a subgroup of facilities. Our only item that was on the agenda just 2 days ago was to talk about the pending RFP coming up regarding the airport, and there was a strong consensus from the, not a unanimous one, but a strong one from the group and also those supervisors that attended, that to the extent possible not to chop up the RFP that's going out, to try to take into account the feedback that the advisory group would like to be able to provide. I've been told that we should be seeing that soon, and the advisory group had conveyed a message to our county attorney, hopefully, and our county administrator. Hopefully they could see that in July to be able to provide some technical advice to that process. So we're hoping that's possible. And lastly, we had a joint personnel and finance meeting over at the college. I know that our chairman of finance is going to speak a little bit more to setting that public hearing tonight, and that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Beatty.
No report. I just had a question, though. Supervisor Gerard, did you say you wanted to table 223?
So you'll propose that after we're done with our committee reports, I assume?
Yep.
Okay, I just didn't know if I heard that correctly. Okay.
I did think it was perhaps that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Supervisor Sokol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I bet you're glad to see that I'm the last committee report for this evening.
You're always the best.
Finance met on June 1st. We had a very active and very busy committee meeting. We spent a lot of good money, though. We have Resolution 211, 212, 241 to 251, and then Resolution 253. Most of those have been discussed already, but I would like to speak on behalf of Resolution 246, which is also road projects. These are to address County Routes 10, 11, and 15. Much needed, and it's nice to see that Resolution 247 is in place as well. Mr. Simpson, I hope we can hear more from the state because they are in shambles, so it would be nice to see that move forward. Resolution 250 authorizes purchase of real property located at 686 Bay Road in the town of Queensbury in trust for use by the Adirondack Community College, and that is the small red house that is standing. This has been going on for a couple of years now, and the people have been willing to sell, but it's taken us actually a couple of years to get this passed through. So finally, it's on the agenda for tonight. Resolution 251 is adopting the budget for the 2017-18 Adirondack Community College and providing the public hearing. I will say that this has been a very responsible budget. As Supervisor Seeger alluded to, we did go to the June 2nd Joint Finance and Personnel meeting, and they spelled out everything. It was excellent. And actually, we have Anne Marie here, who's the Vice President. And at this time, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, I'd like to have Anne Marie come forward.
Without objection.
Rachel, can I have slides, or? Yeah, let me have a stem. Is there a little clicker? Right, you do have them. You don't. I have the slides. You don't have a clicker. I don't need a clicker because there's only two. Oh, yeah. I just didn't know how to turn it on.
There we go.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about SUNY Adirondack's budget. The budget for the 2017-18 year was, in our opinion, fiscally prudent. It's very conservative. It's a 1.95% increase over our prior year, but as a reminder to you, that trails budget increases of 1.1% and 0.03% for the last 2 years. So over the course of 3 years, that's a 1.03% increase in our budget. Rachel had asked me to give you a little description about how New York State community colleges are financed. And I say this little speech very regularly, so if I'm talking too fast, I apologize. I'll answer any questions you have. But basically, funding for a community college comes from 3 main sources in New York State. And our revenue streams and our expenditure streams are all regulated by New York State education law. So there's a very detailed law that we have to follow. SUNY makes sure that we follow it. But really, the revenue comes from 3 places. You can follow along on the screen if you'd like, but the first is state revenues. We get state aid, which historically has been a rate per FTE from the state. We also get some rental aid that helps us with any rent that we have for space. The second place we get revenues from is our students. We collect revenue in the form of tuition and fees. SUNY Adirondack has proudly maintained one of the lowest rates of tuition in the community college system in New York State. And the third place that we get revenue from is what they call local share, and it really has 2 pieces to it. The first is non-sponsors contribution, and that's essentially a chargeback to counties other than Warren and Washington that send their students to SUNY Adirondack. So sometimes I hear, well, those out-of-county students, you know, their county's not paying. Yes, they are. They give us an operating and a capital chargeback that essentially equals your contribution per the FTE that you send to SUNY Adirondack. So we do receive revenue from those other counties. Saratoga is the major county that we receive revenue from, and it's about an equal amount that we get from Warren and Washington County that we get from Saratoga. The other place that we get local share from is the sponsor's contribution, which we're here asking you about tonight. It's a flat dollar amount, like a cash dollar amount. It's not really a per FTE amount. And New York State education law has something in it called maintenance of effort, which essentially says you can't reduce your support to your community college. You need to give us at least what you gave us last year. And we've worked judiciously with the finance committees at both counties to explain how that works and really to put together an idea and a plan of what funding should look like in the future. There are a couple of other sources of revenue. We get some other income, and actually New York State Ed Law classifies the technology fee that we charge our students as other income for some strange reason. But it would come from other things such as rental of our space, and we also receive grants that we apply for, whether they come from the federal government, the state, or some sort of private entity. The other thing to note really is over the last 20 years, we've gone from what we would call state-supported to state-assisted. We are what we would consider to be tuition dependent at this point in time, which means we are highly impacted by enrollment fluctuations. We focus very precisely on our enrollment projections each year, and we draft our budget based on those. The next slide has a summary of our ask. I don't know if you can change the, there we go, thank you. And this is in your resolution. SUNY Adirondack is asking both of our sponsors to approve our 2017-18 operating budget, which is inclusive of grants in the amount of $31,311,908. That represents a 2% increase in sponsors' contribution. That would bring Warren County's contribution to $1,968,221. It represents a $38,593 increase over your contribution last year. Just so that you are aware, the split between Warren and Washington County for your contributions is based on your fall 2015 actual enrollments. That split was an agreement between the two counties when they founded the community college, and so we do that calculation for you every year. And that would bring the total sponsor contribution for both Warren and Washington County to 11.5% of our operating revenues. I do usually bring up and keep in mind our peer community college sponsors sponsor about 15.6% of their operating budgets, so we're a little behind. We trail a couple percentage points behind, but we're doing pretty good. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
You're welcome.
I only have about another 20 minutes. Resolution 253 addresses the Emergency Services Marketing Corporation for the purchase of the I Am Responding software. What this allows our county representatives, and Brian LaFleur is here if you have any questions, but it's a software package that gives quicker response time, and it also lets everybody know where everybody is. So it's at a cost of $19,200, and it's a very good money spent. So if anybody has any questions, Brian is here. We also had a June 14th meeting tonight, and Supervisor Seeber did address that, and it will be interesting to see what next month's meeting will be like. There was a lot to absorb tonight. I know where my thoughts are, but we're in an excellent position right now, and it just needs to be understood by everybody. There's a lot of material, but we'll have a couple weeks to absorb it, so hopefully we'll hear some good things. And then lastly, I would like to have the Treasurer, Mike Swan, come up, please.
Good evening, everybody. Real quick, I think we put out the notice today. Sales tax is up 2.9% over last year's collections. That's real good. Keep the thumbs up on that one. The closing on the remaining bond for the bank expansion and for the NSTEM project at the Adirondack will be tomorrow. That's a total of $14.5 million. We did real well on the interest rate on that when they were sold. We got 2.7% interest. We were projecting 3.5%. So that's really good. As soon as
you mean a court expansion today?
Yeah, he meant the court expansion.
I'm sorry, court expansion. I'm sorry. What did I say?
We don't have any bank buildings.
I'm thinking of the bank that bought it actually bought all of the bonds, which is unusual, which was good for us. It's Bank of America, so that made the closing a lot better and a lot quicker. And that's about it. Something else I was going to say, but I lost my train. So.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, you're welcome, as usual. Never a dull moment. Now the report from the county attorney. Brian?
No report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
No report. Reading of communications.
Report of criminal and family workloads for April 2017 from the Warren County Probation Department, Warren, Washington County IDA audited financial statement and auditor's report for the year ending December 31, 2016, PROACT discount utilization report for the period of January 2016 through April 2017. Capital District Regional Off-Track Betting Corp. March 2017 surcharge check in the amount of $4,057. Monthly report from the Warren County Department of Weights and Measures for the months of January through May 2017. We received 2 notices of public hearings from the Warren, Washington County CDC. The first was on the proposed Silver Bay Association for Christian Conference and Training Project. That was held on June 7th in the town of Hague. The other is for a proposed Aviation Hospitality LLC project. That will be held on June 19th at 10 a.m. in the town of Queensbury. We also received an email from Donna Trottier opposing a plastic bag ban or charge. That was emailed to all members of the board on Monday, and it will be placed on file with the meeting minutes.
Very good. Reading of resolutions.
Proposed resolution numbers 211 through 253 were mailed. Proposed resolution numbers 236, 242, and 252 were amended after mailing. Revised resolutions were emailed to the board and posted to the county website earlier in the week, and printed copies are in your folders. A motion is needed to approve the amendments to resolution numbers 236, 242, and 252.
Chair will entertain a motion for those amendments. Mr. Dickinson and Mr. Thomas on the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay. Proposed resolution number 254 and 255 were approved after mailing. Copies of those are in your folders. They were emailed to the board earlier in the week, and they were both posted to the website. A motion is needed to bring 254 and 255 to the
Chair will entertain a motion on 254. Mr. Sokol, second. Mr. Gerard? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Right now, we will move on to our resolutions. Mr. Gerard, you have a motion regarding 223.
223, could I table that motion?
We have a motion to table 223. We have a second from Supervisor Leggett.
223?
223.
I'm sorry, yes.
223. We have a motion, Gerard, second. Supervisor Leggett. Motion to table for closes discussion. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of tabling 223 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Are there any additional motions to table? Supervisor Simpson.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to table 242, resolution that's saying that we're going to, that this money is uncollectible, the $550,000. I don't agree that it's uncollectible.
All righty. We have motion. Is a second by Mr. Dickinson. Motion to table for closes. Any discussion? Are we ready for the question?
Yeah. Discussion?
No discussion after there's a motion to table. I'm sorry. Are we ready for the question then? This is a motion to table on 242. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor of the motion to table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Now discussion on resolutions. Mr. Stroud.
Yes, I would like to table have a roll call vote rather on resolutions 239, 250, and 251. And the reason why I'm requesting roll call votes on those three is because I'm on the SUNY Adirondack Board of Trustees, and I would like to recuse myself from any discussion or voting on SUNY Adirondack financial issues.
Could you confirm that one more time?
239,
239,
250,
250,
251.
251. Are all roll call. Any other requests for roll call? Let's stay with roll call. Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just at 252 with the plastic requirements, I just sometimes I just feel that there's not enough time. I mean, what was 15 people spoke out about it, and 3 were for it, 12 were against. It's tough. We always just keep putting in these resolutions when we really have 66,000 people in this county to think about. I know it's only a letter, but you know, when you get a group together and want to do something, they'll come and talk about it. But a lot of people didn't show up to talk about it, and it worries me that we keep putting these penalties on people that without further. I'd like to just cancel, table it just, for more discussion about it.
Well, your motion to table takes precedence. Is there a second to the motion to table? Mr. Beatty, a motion is second by Mr. Beatty. Discussion is ended. Are we ready for the question? All those in favor of tabling 252, is that correct? Yes. 252 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
All right. Let's. We should do a roll call on that. Let's begin.
Any discussion?
Not on a motion to table.
Well, the original motion was to have a roll call. I have something to say. He said he wanted to put it on roll call, and then
I thought he said he wanted to table.
No, it's the motion is to table.
Okay.
Supervisor
It wasn't the
Dickinson.
roll call.
Are you ready?
There's no roll call.
Okay. Supervisor Thomas. Supervisor Thomas.
Yes.
Yes to table. Supervisor Leggett.
Yes.
Supervisor Gerard.
No.
No.
Ms. Bramer.
No.
Mr. McDonald.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 No.
We have 439 votes in favor of tabling, so the motion is tabled.
The motion to table fails. I'll reopen discussion then on Resolution 252. Ms. Bramer, did you want to speak?
I can go after Supervisor Dickinson.
Mr. Dickinson?
Ladies first.
Okay, thanks. Supervisor Moreno, I know you recognize that it's just a letter. And one of the reasons that our committee did it this way is so that we could get some public input. We have this was a public comment period. It wasn't an official public hearing because we do want to take our time as we move forward with crafting actual language for a Warren County proposal if we even go that far. But there is a state task force formed, and we want to encourage them to, move that along if they're going to do it, so that perhaps action from the county isn't necessary. But if they sit around doing nothing, I think that the county should continue taking a look at action. But we've asked for comments tonight, and we will ask for public comments again. This is simply asking the state task force to do their job and to do it expeditiously.
Well, it's good explanation, but there's still 12 towns and villages and towns in this county, and I've basically only heard from Queensbury and Glens Falls and 1 or 2 others. So, I mean, nobody in my town has ever said to me, oh, gee, please vote for it or don't vote for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more time should be explained to people what's going on. But I'll stick with whatever goes.
Supervisor Dickinson.
I've spent 55 years of my life surveying. I've been all over Warren County, Washington County, Essex County. I've been everywhere. Off the road, through swamps, over mountains. Plastic bags. These plastic bags we're talking about are everywhere. You think you've gotten away from them, you're in a rural area and there's a plastic bag stuck in the tree. They're detrimental to the environment, they're detrimental to the animal life, and they have an extremely long life. They do not degrade, they just break down into smaller and smaller parts. It's a definite problem. I do not see a problem with using reusable bags. I have a trunk full of them. I don't see a problem with it. But I do see a problem with the plastic bags, and I think it needs to be addressed.
Talk to anyone?
Dean, do you think that bag's been reused? Or?
That might not count as a single-use bag under our legislation.
Supervisor Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not opposed to encouraging and educating the public and trying to take steps to change a culture. But you know what? You can name a lot of things you can find in those woods. Beer cans, cigarette butts, diapers. You can find anything. Refrigerators, microwaves. I'd be a little fearful of what we asked New York State to do. There's a task force.
You don't find any of those things in a lot of the forest areas that are untraveled by man, except for plastic bags. If they can get there easily, they'll leave whatever they took in there.
One at a time, gentlemen. One at a time. Please speak through the chair. Please speak through the chair. Supervisor Simpson, you're not complete.
I just wanted to say I'll invite Jeff. We'll go for a little walk at Farrell Wilderness, and I can show you.
Supervisor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit what I did this past weekend. Went out in the lake about 5:30. Went fishing lake trout. Caught my first one ever. Saw a price shopper plastic bag floating in the lake. That wasn't the only piece I saw either. I live down by the feeder canal. There's a few Fifth Ward residents here. I'm sure they can attest to, seeing some plastic bags buried down deep. It's an issue. I understand that some people don't want to inconvenience people with changing their habits. I get that. We should leave it up to people to make those decisions. I understand that dilemma there, but that doesn't negate the issue here. It doesn't negate the problem. It doesn't make it go away. It's a change of habit. That's all it is. I did a little bit of research on this. Britain did this 2 years ago. The whole country enacted legislation on single-use plastic bags. Within 6 months, 85% reduction. California is the 6th largest economy in the world, bigger than France. They have an outright ban. Now, I'm not saying that I have all the data necessary to say we need to ban, we need to tax, we need this, that, and the other. But what I am saying is that I think we should task the state with acknowledging the problem and putting the resources to use to figure out the best way to address the issue. Sitting on our hands and saying, well, there's that in the forest. Come on. We change habits with seatbelts. What about styrofoam? I mean, what about PCBs? That was okay once upon a time. I think it's okay to ask the state to look into this further. I support this resolution. Thank you.
Welcome. Supervisor Thomas.
I was just wondering if we could change habits about the litter along our highways, or enforce it, or maybe get some people that are receiving public money to clean up some of this litter. I mean, I see this year after year, and you get groups to go out and volunteer, and we adopt the side of the road, and we pick up all this garbage, and it's not 2 weeks later, and there's garbage alongside the road. So we can't even teach our people to not be pigs and throw stuff on the side of the road. And now we want to ban plastic bags. I just, somehow it just doesn't work for me, Let's ban litter on the side of the road.
Supervisor Sokol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I serve on the Legislative Rules Committee, and it was just brought forth a few weeks ago. I did read about it before in the paper, but here we are now, a few weeks later, trying to form a resolution on this. In my life, I've had a grocery store. I have a restaurant now. We use them a lot, and I still use them a lot. I use them for my head so my hair doesn't get wet when it's raining. It's very important to keep this well manicured hairdo. But I guess I view
Got good hearing.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't do something, and yes, it is a problem, but we, like Supervisor Thomas just said, we have many problems. This one, I think, is just getting pushed through, and that's one of the things that I did not like in the meeting, is that we were pushing this through. And I think this is a subject that probably the state needs a little more influence than the county does. So I'm voting no, and as I did it when we tabled it, I think it needs some more substance. I think it needs some more teeth to it, and I would like to see it sent back to legislators. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Supervisor McDevitt, I apologize.
I think Claudia embarked upon this journey 3 months ago. It wasn't 2 months ago. Okay? I think we've had a reasonable dialogue. What are we actually asking here for? We're sending a letter for our state senator to basically kind of get engaged in this issue. We're not passing a local law here. We're not infringing on anybody's rights. We're asking Senator Little to support our effort. And we're not suggesting a fee. We're just basically asking for some consideration in terms of the banning of plastic bags. Now, probably the best example of a highly profitable grocery store chain, a global grocery store chain, is Aldi's on Quaker Road. They don't give you plastic bags. Probably the best value in the grocery store industry today. So those folks have changed their habits. They do it. It seems to be all okay. And this is a very, very busy supermarket enterprise. So I don't mind taking a chance and erring for a better and a cleaner environment. So I'll take that chance. This is a letter. My goodness, we're not asking for a law to be provided today.
Supervisor Seaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think when Claudia brought this up, she had the best intentions. And I think, frankly, Claudia, this topic has gotten more attention than most of our topics we talk about, and that's a good thing. Here tonight, we see so many members from our community come out. I think it begs the question, we need more night meetings. People are involved in these issues. But this resolution in front of us, when Dennis isn't to do the socks, but this resolution in front of us talks about reducing the single-use carry-out bags. It's not specifying whether it's paper or plastic. I am opposed to any fee that would ever be associated with this. Aldi's does charge a fee if you want to use a plastic bag. But I think as a community, we should challenge our community to be responsible, to think about single-use plastic or single-use bags, to use the reusable ones, the cloth ones. But we didn't just talk about it here. A group of us go to Intercounty every month. We talked about it there. We said to NISAC, what's going on with this? We recognize the state has a task force. They didn't really have a whole lot going on with it other than we're happy to hear your comments. I don't know if the state's ever going to ask us what we think about this in Warren County, but I know I'm not comfortable at this point in sending a letter in to tell them what we think about it before they're even at a point where they're asking for any type of input. I think tonight we've heard from wonderful people on both sides of the issue, but frankly, this resolution to me isn't specific enough, and I worry about a fee being attached to this by the state. That's one of my main concerns, is adding another tax. So, and let's not forget that the lotto is all supposed to go to fund our education. So I don't know where the bag fine's going to go, but I'm sure it's not to education. But I'm voting no.
Very good. Any Supervisor Dickinson?
Well, I think that's part of the point here. We want to send this letter to our legislators and let them know we're concerned about it. That's the whole point. And have them look into them thoroughly and decide what they want to do. The whole point of the resolution.
Supervisor Bramer, I think I saw your hand.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I just want to address 2 points. Matt, Supervisor Sokol, this was certainly not
You can call
rushed.
me Matt.
We brought this
I know you're
to
mad.
environmental concerns first, and then it came to legislative, and then we tabled it last month. It was ready to be voted on in May, but we waited, gave people more time to think about it, and now it's here in June. I mean, this was certainly not something that we have rushed through. And Supervisor Sieber, to your point about it not being specific, you were the one who requested some of that language be taken out and that it be more generic. We're not trying to delve into the weeds with this. That's what the state task force, that's their whole job. I mean, we may do some of that ourselves, but the point of this letter was to make them aware of our concerns. We're not telling them a specific thing to do. That's why it's a general resolution per your request, and also the letter is generic.
All
If I
right.
could just
Thank you.
quickly respond.
You're welcome. Just a moment, Supervisor Sieber. Supervisor Sokol.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess that's my question is the purpose of this letter. I mean, ultimately, what are the people that are in favor of this, and anybody can speak up, but what do you ultimately want to see? You ultimately want to see this banned, correct? So we are sending this letter in hopes that the state does something and potentially bans plastic bags. So that's why I'm saying the purpose of this letter, you may see it being insignificant, but it does have a purpose.
Supervisor Sieber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just in response, very briefly, I didn't realize until tonight, listening to some members of the audience, I'm so glad everybody came and talked tonight, but I didn't realize that it was also a proposal to ban paper. And I'm a big fan of paper. I remember when we used that on our book covers, and when back it became don't cut down the trees and go to plastic. So this resolution says the use of single-use carry-out bags by retailers. It does not specify plastic or paper. And I agree, I wanted it more generic. I didn't want the fee language in there. But I'm just pointing out that it's not specific on plastic or paper. That was my only point to that. And again, I really love this effort and passion and discussion on it.
Supervisor Beatty.
Yeah, I think everybody's making valid points. What I get concerned about is we pick and choose environmental issues. A lot of people on this board could care less about the Morro Fen out at the airport. They could care less about it. Yeah, we got 10% of the world's Morro Fen. So what? Destroy it, get rid of it. We need another 1,000 feet of runway. So I find it rather disingenuous when I hear some people, one side of the environmental issue, they're all for this, and then the other side, I'm against that. So that's one concern I have. Another concern is, I agree with Mr. Sokol. This letter is more than just a letter. We're basically giving our endorsement to the state to go to the next step, which is banning the single-use plastic bags. And I got a problem with that. I'm all for the environment, but I got a problem with over-regulation. I got a problem with the state mandating tons of things that we all scream about every day, but some things we don't scream about. And so I think this is a wrong step at this time. I don't think we vetted it nearly enough. Tonight was just a perfect example. We had 15 people speak. I bet if we had an actual public session and encouraged that 2 or 3 months from now, I bet we'd get a much larger group. And I want to hear more people from the county speak out on this. So in my opinion, we're rushing this a little bit. And so I'll be voting no tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Beatty, I should say to the supervisors, there has been no roll call called for 252. As such, it will be Mr. McDonald.
Can we make that 252 a roll call?
That's an idea, Matt.
Thank you. Is there a second on the roll call, Ms. Sieber? All those, that's fine. It's a roll call. We don't need a second. Just a roll call. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. All right, so we now have a roll call on 252. I'm almost hesitate saying this. Is there any further discussion, Mr. McDonald?
Just one little last bit here. I led off my initial statement with my experience on the lake, my first experience on the lake for this season, and what I had to witness. Try to fish out unsuccessfully. We spent a lot of money on invasives because of the economic impact that it has. I don't see why we're not taking this into consideration, considering that lake is our economic lifeline. That's just another reason.
Right. I'll call the discussion closed on this resolution. Discussion on other resolutions.
Can I have a roll call on 255, please?
Roll call on 255. Absolutely. Any other discussion on any other resolutions? Mr. Beatty, Supervisor Beatty.
I don't know if it's appropriate to discuss a resolution that's been tabled, so probably not. Okay.
Alrighty. Any other discussion on resolutions?
Could,
All right. Ms. Bramer.
sorry, on 254,
254.
has that letter already been sent, the June 9th?
No,
No?
it needs approval of the board.
Okay, so this will approve sending the letter. Okay.
Any other discussion on resolutions? There being none, I'll close the discussion on resolutions. Alrighty. Ready to vote.
Resolution 211, making supplemental appropriation. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 212, amending Warren County budget for 2017. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 235, amending table of organization and Warren County salary and compensation plan. Mr. Thomas?
Wasn't there a roll call called for on 225? Or did I get that wrong?
I didn't see that. I don't have a 225.
No.
I just want to check supervisors. There was no roll call asked for on 225?
No, 255.
Oh, 255. My mistake. Very good. Good.
All right. This is 235, amending table of organization. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver? Yes. Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 239, approving collective bargaining agreement between SUNY Adirondack and the Faculty Association at Adirondack Community College. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Recuse.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 243, increasing capital project H292 First Wilderness Heritage Corridor. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 244, authorizing appropriation of funds from the occupancy tax reserve to the tourism budget. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver? Yes. Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 246, establishing road fund project numbers for additional road paving projects. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard?
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Strauss?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 247, authorizing appropriation of funds from the general fund unappropriated surplus to transfer capital projects.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Yes. Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 248, authorizing county treasurer to transfer funds from computer reserve fund. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Yes. Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 249, authorizing county treasurer to appropriate funds from Stop BWI reserve to departmental budget. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 250, authorizing purchase of real property located at 686 Bay Road in the town of Queensbury and trust for use by Adirondack Community College. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Recuse.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 251, approving tentative operating budget for fiscal year 2017-18 for Adirondack Community College and providing for public hearing. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Recuse.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
Resolution 252, authorizing letter requesting legislative action aimed at reducing use of single-use plastic bags. Mr. Thomas?
No.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
No.
Mr. Simpson?
No.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
No.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
No.
Mr. Beatty?
No.
Mr. Sokol?
No.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
That only got a vote of 448 votes, so that fails.
Motion passed.
What was the vote total, please?
The vote total was 448 votes in favor, 350 against, and there are 202 votes absent.
So it did not pass?
It did not pass. It needs
Thank you.
501 votes in the affirmative.
Okay, thanks.
Resolution 253, authorizing agreement with Emergency Services Marketing Corporation for purchase of IM responding software and authorizing transfer from a contingent account. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
Yes.
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
And Resolution 255, approving internship agreement for college graduate and waiving requirement of the intern policy. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Leggett?
Yes.
Mr. Gerard? Mr. McDevitt?
No, but let me give you my rationale if I can. I'm in support of an intern program. I think it can be a valuable avenue for students, particularly students from Adirondack. But I also do believe that people ought to be paid for their services. So,
Ms. Bramer?
Yes.
Mr. Brock?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mrs. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Mr. Merlino?
Yes.
Mr. Stroud?
Yes.
Ms. Seaver?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Sokol?
Yes.
Chairman Conover?
Yes.
We need a collective.
Motion on the collective. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. Is there anyone wishing to address Mr. Whitehead?
Thank you. I hope in the future that you will authorize that letter that goes out to the governor. And in the meantime, I hope that each and every one of you would do what I do and keep a reusable bag in your trunk. It's the least we can do for the environment. I do want to correct the record on one issue and point out the fact that the Marl Fen appears in the New York database starting in 1948. So if you do the math and you think about statements that have repeatedly been made about when it might or might not have been created, most geologists will say it's at least 10,000 years old. New York State says 1948. Take it for what it's worth. And again, I agree with what Mr. Beatty said. I hope you spend as much time thinking about the Marl Fen in the future as you've spent on plastic bags. Both worthy discussions. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Briefly, by the way, marl is a rock. It started at the bottom of the sea when this area was under the sea. Hard rock, not clay. Two, as was pointed out to me, I was referring to 223 earlier this evening, not 224, as I said. I apologize, and thank you for the correction. Last but not least, you mentioned Aldi stores. I shop there. What Aldi does, one, they only have paper bags. Two, they charge you for them. And you would be amazed, standing in line there, how many people bring their little cloth bags, as opposed to Hanford gives away free plastic bags if you even brief. Put a letter together. Put a 50-cent fee on all plastic bags, or 25 cents. Aldi, or go down to Aldi, just see it. They've already solved your problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Announcements. Supervisor Stroud.
Yes. Today is June 14th. 3 days away from a famous event. Dr. Joseph Warren, born June 11, 1741, died June 17, 1775. This county is named after him. Why? A Boston boy. He was a Mason. He was a Grand Master of the Masons. He played a leading role in the American Patriot organizations that were going on underground and then surfaced in opposition to what the British were doing and the taxes in the early days. And then in 1775, when George Washington put his farmer army and seized Boston, but not for long, the British in the Battle of Bunker Hill would make several attacks up Breed's Hill, which is the hill they were actually on. On the third charge, George Washington knew that his farmer army, unless they escaped, would not be there to fight the British on another day. So we needed a few volunteers to offer to stay behind and keep firing at the British to slow them down while the farmer soldiers were able to escape. Volunteering for this job. Everyone knew what that meant. Now, one of the officers said, I volunteered to do that. And George Washington said, no, you're too important. I need you. And he said, no, I'm a regular soldier, and I'm staying. And sure enough, the British charged up Breach Hill, recognized Dr. Joseph Warren, and shot him. He died June 17, 1775, and our county is named after him. We're only 3 days away from that anniversary, 242 years ago. Now, some people wonder, Was Dr. Joseph Warren ever in Warren County? Technically, no. Although, in the bicentennial in 2013, there were reports of people seeing him here and about. You know what I mean?
7-Eleven.
No, he was here for the bicentennial celebration, don't you remember? Very handsome guy, if I remember well. You know? All right, so I just thought I'd mention that our county is named after Dr. Joseph Warren, and since his anniversary is only 3 days away, I thought I should mention it.
Very appropriate. Any other announcements? Ms. Bramer.
I do, thanks. I sent an email out about a responsible boating initiative that I am working on with DA Hogan and the Lake George Park Commission, and we're having that meeting next Thursday morning. So supervisors, I do invite you to attend. And if there's anyone that you know of that's on the lake or a marina operator that you think would be important to have there, let me know and I can certainly extend the invitation to them as well. This is something that we are trying to get off the ground based on a national initiative called Operation Dry Water, and it is focused on making sure that there's awareness and social responsibility about drinking and boating, the same as there is now about drinking and driving. No one would think about getting behind the wheel when they're drunk, and they shouldn't be thinking about getting behind a boat steering wheel to be a captain if they've been drinking. So we want to put like a social stigma on that, and there will be an enforcement effort as well, but we're trying to make it more of a positive swing. And, you know, considering the events of last year, we are going to be using a tagline of Remember Charlotte, and that is with the permission of the family. So we're developing that now, and I'd like some key stakeholders to be involved. If you're interested or know people who would be, please let me know.
Very good. As I see Supervisor Brock.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to what John Stroud was saying about Dr. Joseph Warren. Now, I'm not going to give you a lot of detail about this, but we don't realize this was a man who gave his life, and he never really was never known as a big hero. But going up Bunker Hill or Breeds Hill, the British were decimated trying to go up it. The American forces generally ran. They didn't stand and fight, but because of Joseph Warren, they stood and fought. He died. He was stabbed, I don't know how many times. And shortly thereafter, when Washington went to New York, the British outmaneuvered Washington easily. They came up and around, and he was on Brooklyn Heights, and he was able to move across to Manhattan because of Joseph Warren. The British could have taken the Americans, but they didn't because they were so impressed with the fight that the Americans had shown. And he's an example of what I think what happens is most people in history become well known and everybody goes, wow, what a great guy. But most history is made up of people that we never hear about. These are people who, it's kind of like a lot of us, who do really important things. Nobody ever hears about it, but they do things that make our country what it is. And I think that when we talk about Joseph Warren, and there are other people like him in history that have shown tremendous intelligence. I mean, he really made Boston the beehive of revolutionary activity. But it was because of him that we have our freedom today. And it's important that people understand that it's these people like him that we should really emulate and not try to be George Washington, some of the big people. That's my going along with John.
Supervisor McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I almost don't want to say anything because that's a great note to end on. But I just wanted to thank all the supervisors. I want to thank everybody here. We had quite a turnout, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were holding it during the evening. Nobody had to leave work. Nobody had to take a vacation time, sick time, what have you, to come participate in their local government. And it makes it easier for me as well. As a sitting supervisor, I didn't have to negotiate my schedule with work or take time off. This is very nice, and I appreciate that. And if I would like to see if there's any interest in scheduling another one later on this year, maybe October, November, something like that. Is there any interest in that? Besides Dennis?
Let me canvass the board.
You got it.
All righty. Motion to adjourn. Motion, Mr. Simpson, second, Mr. Stroud. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.